Hey super animals, up in the skies and down in the ground. Welcome to SAR-Cap. My name is Shifty and I'll be updating you on the recent events of Super Animal Royale. In this edition of SAR-Cap, I'll be going over the July Mooseletter, the monthly newsletter and development blog by Pixile Studios. This edition recaps a lot that has happened this month, a progress update for the expansion, insights into a limited time weapon, Super Animal Royale in Japan for BitSummit, questions and answer segment, highlighting a community event, and showcasing Super Fanart chosen by Pixile. The Super Summer Royale also took place with various cosmetics and challenges over the 3 weeks it ran for. If you want more details on what the event is, click on the info card in the top right corner or the description below. Fishing saw a big improvement this month, with gameplay refinements pushing core gameplay mechanics up by 1% to 95%. Progression systems have also taken major steps, climbing 6% to reach 86% and now nearing full completion. Thanks to the extra development time, content and quests received a huge boost. It expanded beyond the original plans and rose an impressive 25%, now sitting at 75%. This month's focus have been wrapping up on the main storyline's conclusion, while also finalising key decisions about social and friend features, which are now up 10% to 70%. On the user interface and user experience design front, progress continues strongly, climbing up to 88%. User interface implementation have entered its final phase, with all screens on track to be fully designed and integrated soon, leaving just polish and refinements to go. The team is staying busy and motivated as these progress bars approach completion, working hard to finish everything up before moving into the final stages of development, localization, porting, and quality assurance. Hopping over to Japan, Kyoto, an event called BitSummit occurred from the 18th to the 20th of July. It's the largest annual festival celebrating independent video game development in the country. Cheryl, who's in charge of the merchandising department, and Michael, the CEO of Pixile Studios, set up a booth on the show floor to showcase the game ahead of the console release of Super Animal Royale in Asia, as the game has only been available on PC through Steam within the region. Two press teams, Famitsu, a Japanese video game magazine, and IGN Japan, also spoke to Pixile Studios to discuss the game for their audiences. New players got a chance to try out the game on 2 Steam Decks and a PlayStation 5. Grab themselves a travel-themed Super Animal Royale brochure showcasing what they can find in the game, detailing Hamster Ball Racing, SAR vs Rebellion, The Walking Dead, and the Super Animal World expansion. 2 standees of a Super Fox wearing a blue yukata and holding a ramune, and a Super Skull Cat wearing a Sakura kimono and holding a dango, and meeting and interacting with fans. Various cosmetics and code BitSummit was also created in celebration of the event. The cosmetics are the Super Japanese Mukak, the Taiyiki Gravestone, and the already mentioned Blue Yakuta and the Dangao. The code is now expired. During the Super Summer Royale event, the limited time weapon Triple Barrel Blunderbuss was introduced into the game, and it was the first time Pixel experimented with a weapon like this. The idea behind it was to allow for more creative freedom, with testing ideas without the worry of long-term overlap or balancing problems with pre-existing sets of weapons. Temporary additions like this allow for testing of newer mechanics, such as the powerful knockback of the blunderbuss. The mix of community feedback and gameplay data showed that players enjoyed testing the gun during the event, blasting away over 500,000 animals. With this, ideas are already being brainstormed for what the next limited time weapon could be, and once a large roster has been built up, they'll begin rotating them in and out of upcoming seasons. Hopping over to Blue Sky and Twitter, Pixel has asked the community for questions to answer within the newsletter, and various have been selected to answer for this month. If you have any questions you want an answer to, be sure to check out Pixel Studio over on Blue Sky and Twitter. On Blue Sky, Sergeant Lot 10 asks, will the blunderbuss come back in rotation if other limited time weapons get added to the pool, like how SAR vs Rebellion and Walking rotate every week? Pixel replies, yes, we're considering something just like that, where limited time weapons rotate in and out similar to game modes. It's still too early to say exactly when or how, but would love for the blunderbuss to return regularly in future seasons. The blunderbuss was such a fun weapon to use, taking advantage of the knockback to propel out of or into fights on the fly, and surprise players around corners for a quick tap and swap into a ranged gun. I look forward to when this gun swaps back in, or to see any future ones. On Twitter, Dills the Axolotl YT asks, the blunderbuss was a super fun weapon and I love the idea of limited time event items. Do you have plans for other limited time event items for future events this year? Pixile answers, we're hoping to debut another limited time weapon in the next couple of months, though that could shift depending on how development goes. Right now, new weapons are tied to events like Halloween since we're focused on Super Animal World, but that may change in the future. Seasonal weapons sound like they could stir up some fun trouble in the future, expanding upon the format the game currently follows of gathering collectibles and completing 5 quests a week, and potentially opening up unique twists. It would also be super exciting to see limited time weapons thrown into the mix with studio collaborations. On Twitter, Toru asks, why is it called a triple barrel when in fact it's just a tube gun? Anyway, it is very fun, but have a very few flaws that makes people seem to ignore the gun entirely: range, kickback, and damage. Most notably is the reload speed. Maybe just make it only 1 round and super fast reload? Pixel explains, because it's the side profile of the gun. We actually had a pretty long funny conversation about this during development, realizing that the side profile could technically hide any number of barrels. The triple barrel blunderbuss was a unique challenge to balance because of all the movement opportunities it creates. In SAR, movement is a huge part of a high level play, so giving players the ability to launch themselves across the map has the potential to be oppressive if not tuned carefully. That means we had to consider not just stats, but also how many shots it fires and how that affects combat flow. We originally tested it with just 2 shots and were hesitant to add a third, but we feel like the current version strikes a solid balance, and most importantly, it is just a lot of fun. Even if it ends up being used more as a mobility or escape tool rather than a damage dealer, it brings something new to the battlefield. We'll continue watching feedback, gameplay videos, and data to decide if it needs more tuning. The triple barrel blunderbuss could absolutely do with a few minor tweaks for when it returns, as there are a couple of areas where it fell short, but these are things that need the playtesting you can't quite get with a small batch of players, and takes time to craft into a perfect gun. Take the permanent guns for instance, where they are tweaked on the regular. As it stood, however, it was a very fun gun to use, and felt fair in the majority of situations I found myself in, and as Pixel mentioned, I and many others seem to use it for mobility than assault, whether intentionally or unintentionally. On Twitter, Where Whiskey Avalon asks, the blunderbuss, I would like to know if there's more behind it. Not the gun itself, but its presence in the game. I enjoyed it a lot and have no problems with it, but I feel like there's more to it. Is there an unknown character we don't know about yet who it belongs to? Pixar remarks, maybe. It definitely stands out from the rest of the arsenal with its historical design, and that opens up to some fun lore possibilities. Thomas Sledison has some explaining to do. Lore? Lore? Where? Give me lore! The lore in this game has a lot more to it than what's shown at surface level, and the more you look into it, the more exciting things get, for us viewers that is. Regardless of whether it's a funny quirk or has an entire story associated to it, I would be happy to learn more about the world of Super Animal Royale. On Twitter, Unatha22 asks, is it planned at some point to have a chat in the main menu when being in duos or squads? Even a voice chat? Pixar responds, we're working on some improvements to chat as part of Super Animal World, but the way the expansion is structured means main menu chat won't be as necessary or useful as it might feel in the current game. We're not quite ready to share all the details yet, but rest assured, we're cooking up some things we think you'll like based on this question. When it comes to voice chat, I personally think it'll be both too much work for the team and not necessary for the game. Third-party platforms can instead be used for communication, such as the official Super Animal Royale Discord voice channels, or other methods with friends like platform-specific party systems for consoles. In-game mechanics such as the ping system and chat hold the ground quite nicely, and we know work is being done for cross-platform communication through text.
You've said in the past, weapon bloat is something you're trying to avoid. Do you think there'll ever be a work to rebel caches? It's a little frustrating to have the build-up of opening one, only to get a single blue pistol. I feel like some blues could be removed to make the pool more desirable. Pixar exclaims, potentially, this is good feedback. We'll chat about it as a team and dig into what the root causes might be. Is it about rarity? The blue pistol showing up too often? Or maybe it's just the feeling of all that anticipation crashing into the loadout you didn't want. Either way, we'll take another look at what's in the pool and see if it's due for a refresh. In SAR, the loot is predetermined at the start of the match using a fixed weight system. In some other games, loot can be determined or weighted more in the favour of the player's current needs. An example would be to give the player who is low on health bandages, or give a player who needs more ammo. This sometimes is referred to as cheating in the player's favour, making the game feel better as a result. A lot of the time, I feel like getting a lot of unrelated weapons or gear that I don't want makes the rebel caches feel less worth it to go for. One way I could think of making this feel better in SAR is to see what weapons the player currently has, say a grey hunting rifle or a green pistol, and possibly have higher tiers of weapons drop slightly more frequently to make the rebel caches feel more rewarding to go for them instead of just getting more unrelated loot. Or, a player who is completely dry on tape should have tape weighted slightly more in their favour. Players who are missing a lot of health juice may get a health juice bundle to kickstart the health juice economy. Keep in mind that this shouldn't be guaranteed. Randomness should still be involved in the dropping process, but it should feel more rewarding to go specifically for more rebel caches and getting that pivotal upgrade that gets your preferred loadout online.
Umbrocuticus, a community member and content creator over on Twitch, has been hosting weekly or competitive events every Sunday for a few months with prizes to be won, called SAR Weeklies. Most matches has been solos, with a couple duos games, and the slots fill up fast. Be sure to assign yourself the event roles over in Super Animal Royale Discord to get notified when signups open for a lot more than just Umbras. And finally, the ever so talented community has made artwork for Super Animal Royale, and Pixile has chosen 6 to showcase for this month's newsletter, some of which are from the Art Fight event, the annual art trading game every July across the internet by all sorts of communities. And this has been SAR-Cap. Thank you for listening, and keep fighting, super animals.